There is nothing else Dak Prescott needs to do to prove that he should be in the highest paid market in football for his position.
Yeah,
Nothing.
Yeah, there is. He could play like an elite player. He's not. He has not put. He's not been elite.
What has he done?
And by the way, Carson Wentz was through 13 weeks one season, hasn't been since then, and his contract's killing the Eagles right now. The Rams paid Jared Goff, who looked for about 2/3 of a season like an elite player, but really didn't have the track record, and you had to kind of squint to think he was looking, with Gurley play action, he looked like an elite player. And it turns out he's not actually, and they're hamstrung by that contract. So you can continue to do that in the NFL, and just because it's the next quarterback up and he's pretty good, and I believe in Dak. I think in the long run he's going to be a great player, but I don't know that for certain. I just think so. And I think the Cowboys feel the same way. We're not sure. Look, they didn't believe in Kirk Cousins in Washington, right? They started franchising him. We think so. We're not sure. And I think Dak has greater leadership qualities than Kirk Cousins. I believe in him more along those lines. But Dak was getting fat on bad teams mostly. I mean, the Cowboys really weren't beating a lot of good teams. He played well in the playoffs against Aaron Rodgers, did lose the game, but I don't hold that against him. Rodgers just did the Rodgers thing. He's good. Quarterbacks are overpaid to begin with. If you then, on top of that, overpay a quarterback who's not actually elite, you're hurting yourself. Why is franchising a good idea? And I told you guys this is what was going to happen. What do you pay him? The average of the top 5 at the position, right?
It's between 27 and 34.
Right. So you save a few dollars in the short run, and in the long run, if he does get hurt, if something happens, if he regresses, you're not committed to a $100 million player who's not worth the money. If, on the other hand, his trajectory continues to go up and he becomes a great player, because you can franchise him again, franchise him again. If he becomes a truly great player, and, well, now it's going to cost you more. No, it won't. He's just the next guy up. He'll just get the most by a few dollars.
Was Jared Goff a great player when he got paid?
Nope. I wouldn't have paid him.
Was Carson Wentz a great player?
No, I wouldn't. Well, he was for a moment. Yeah, but I wouldn't have paid him.
So you want Dak to spend the next 3 years proving he's a great player before he gets a contract?
I'd have done the same thing to Goff and Wentz. You know who I would pay?
Hold up. Hold on, because this isn't just about money. Stephen A., what does this do for Dak? Dak is a player. In terms of being insulting, his team doesn't believe in it.
I completely agree with Marcus Spears. If I'm Dak Prescott, I don't show up. I would never utter the Cowboys' name. I wouldn't do an interview. I wouldn't even speak to them. I would disavow any knowledge of them whatsoever. And here's the reason why. We could say what we want about Dak Prescott, and I have fun with the Cowboys, but I'm very, very serious when it comes to the situation involving Dak Prescott, because I think what's happening to him is grotesquely unfair. When you look at a Matt Ryan, he's lost the last 2 years. He got his money. Matthew Stafford's never had a great year, got his money. There's a plethora of quarterbacks. Jay Cutler once got paid for crying out loud. I mean, my Lord. And by the way,
I saw him in Miami.
He was walking down the street in Miami and saw me and went the other direction.
Tannehill got $90 million from Miami.
I didn't even mind that, Max. I didn't even mind Jay Cutler putting his head down and walking by me. I'm sure he is, but damn it, being around him was just a depressing situation for his teammates. Just ask them. It's the truth, okay? Now, the point that
one receiver in particular stopped lying as soon as he left the team.
Stopped lying and came right here and admitted he was lying.
No, we won't mention names, but it rhymes with
Brandon Marshall.
Brandon Marshall.
But here's the deal. Dak Prescott has been in the league for 4 complete seasons. He has never missed a game.
Yeah.
It was back page news when he missed a practice. His record as a starter is 40-24. This year, when they were 8-8, was his first non-winning season of his career. And by the way, that same season, he passed for 4,900 plus yards, nearly 5,000 yards. Okay?
He's second in the league in passing
All I'm
yards.
trying to say is this. When you consider the dysfunctional mess that the Cowboys have been religiously for years, it ain't just about football, particularly when it's the quarterback. It's about dependability, reliability, accountability, leadership. All of these things come into play. This is what they tell us. We ain't paying you just to throw. We're paying you for all of this other ancillary stuff. Dak Prescott has been the epitome of perfection in every other way. Throwing the football, there's stuff to be desired, but it still didn't stop him from throwing for nearly 5,000 yards. All I'm trying to say is that when you look at all the things that go into not just being a quarterback, not just being a quarterback in the NFL, but being the face of the Dallas Cowboys. When you look at that, to sit up here and to have this man waiting when Jared Goff got paid and Carson Wentz got paid. Oh, by the way, I'm proud of my brother Jalen Smith that you paid him, but he ain't the quarterback, okay? You paid him, you paid
Lyle
Smith,
Collins.
you paid Lyle
Paid everybody
Collins,
except
you
the quarterback.
paid Ezekiel Elliott.
Yep.
To do this
Who wasn't
to
a free
Dak,
agent.
to do this to Dak Prescott, to do this to him is criminal.
Okay, you
criminal.
just made a powerful case to pay Dak. I think it's a very strong argument. I'll tell you when I think the argument is strong, especially about being the face of the franchise, always showing up, being reliable, being a leader, all those things, and putting up numbers. Even as you're ascending, you're not great yet, you're still productive and you're still winning. Those are excellent arguments. Here's where we diverge. What you guys are taking from the fact that Jared Goff got paid and Carson Wentz got paid and once upon a time Stafford or whomever else got paid, Jay Cutler for crying out loud. What you're taking from that is basic fairness says Dak should also get paid. What I take from it is, were those teams successful and did those contracts hamper those teams? And so if that answer is yes, ultimately, you're in the best position when you win. I think it was a mistake to give Carson Wentz, Jared Goff, Jay Cutler, those contracts, Stafford, you could argue, those contracts.
But I have a question. I have a one quick
And so
question
I wouldn't make another mistake. However, he does do those other things.
The only thing I want to say, I want to ask you a question, Max, and then I'll give this to you and Marcus. My only question is, because it's almost rhetorical, because from my vantage point, the one thing about the NFL that doesn't exist anywhere else, when we talk about the hard cap, we also see on numerous occasions quarterbacks restructuring their deals.
question.
So my point is this: why can't you give Dak his money and then show him that respect? And then when an adjustment needs to be made in terms of restructuring, taking a pay cut or doing whatever, you go and you talk to him and say, can you help us out here to help the team? Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.